Hello, welcome back everyone to yet another discussion on a case study done on success story in design and innovation by Zeux Innovation for client Discovery Plus. I would like to start by welcoming our panelists for the session. Saurabh Gupta, co-founder Zeux Innovation. Siddhartha Banerjee, Associate Director, Product Discovery Inc. And before requesting Saurabh, guys, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much, Nisha. Pleasure to be here.
So before requesting Saurabh to take over, I'm going to request all the delegates to keep posting their questions in the chat box, and the panel will address a selected few at the end of the session. Thank you, guys. Over to you.
Thanks, Nisha. So this session is really for us to tell you guys a 15-minute story of how Discovery and Zeux got together to design Discovery Plus, which is a non-fiction content video streaming app or OTT app. It was quite a journey, quite an adventure. And it's been 5 months since the app has been launched. And the story we want to tell you today is the design approach we took, what were some of the key aspects that we kept in mind through that, what were some of the ups and downs, challenges, and so on. So that's really the goal. I will share my screen. And I'm assuming everyone can see. Okay. Okay, so let's jump right in. I'm going to start and then I'm going to hand off to Siddhartha from Discovery to take you through to the end. This was really the Zeux and Discovery India partnership was, I think, started in early 2019 when they had this objective to create India's #1 OTT for non-fiction content, and they were looking for a UX design partner to go with them on this journey. And as we started this, the first discussion we had with them was what is the quality of the experience you want to deliver? What are some of those things those adjectives that people should experience when they use this app? And so there was a whole list of words that came up, and we realized that some of these qualities actually are on the opposite ends of a continuum. For example, the three most important aspects were how can you create an app experience that's entertaining, at the same time educational? How can you create something that gives you the abundance, but at the same time doesn't overwhelm? And how can you create something that leverages the habits of people using OTTs, which they have been using for a while? At the same time, how can you make it differentiated? And the challenge of user experience design is often keeping the balance between these things, which could often be opposites. So how do you find that balance? And what we want to talk you through is the balance that we had to find to get these three pillars down for design. The first one, the entertainment and education balance, was really something we decided to clarify when we did the research. And so we went to several cities in India. And what we found was that there were 4 types of motivations when people were consuming non-fiction or real life content. There were people who were curious, people who were industrious on the bottom right, who felt that consuming documentaries and such kind of content improves their chances of success in life, and that is a way for them to move up in it. And then there were people who just liked real life content. Most people obviously were on the right hand side of this quadrant. And so this really helped us clarify the core proposition of how it was about knowing that makes you interesting. And it's great to see that the feedback that's been coming for the app has really validated the fact that people are appreciating the infotainment aspect of the content that's delivered here, which is a big difference from the kind of content that they usually consume. So that's the first pillar really that we were looking to crack. The second one was, how do you create an impression of abundance, and at the same time, how do you not overwhelm? And so as we were designing and sketching heads down all the various options for the framework of the app, we had 5 options really, from showing the least amount of content up front to showing the maximum amount of content on the other right edge. And we actually ended up with the one that was the most balanced, the one in the middle. And so this option of managing the content structure right up front, ensuring the right amount of discoverability was the one to move forward. And so that's the one that translated then into the core structure, the navigation, the circular toggles, which were really a way for us to showcase the depth and the breadth. And when people talk about the fact that Discovery Plus is showing content that's really extensive today, that really makes us feel that, yes, we were able to deliver on that promise of abundance and simplicity. The third pillar, which is one of the most important aspects when you're crafting a digital experience, is how do you create the right amount of differentiation? Now, when I say the right amount, it means it has to be a sense of familiarity and freshness, right? I mean, people have been using OTTs for a while, Netflix and all the other ones, Prime Video. So they have developed certain kinds of habits. Now, we didn't want to go up against those habits and try to break those habits and create new ones. We wanted to leverage those habits and at the same time deliver something differentiated. And so one really cool innovation that we did here was we knew that we had to do something to appeal to the so-called TikTok generation, right? The small, short videos, the infinite scroll, the endless dopamine hit that you get from just, mindless scrolling. And so we thought that this is a great place to actually start introducing that concept of shorts. And so there was a destination for shorts and it's just getting a lot of paid traction, where it's just a short version of a lot of the cool content that Discovery has, and it's just curated for you to just scroll through when you have just a little bit of time during the day, when you don't have time to consume a 1 hour content, just a few minutes. And so that's working really well. The other aspect was there are lots of conversation with the pieces of content that Discovery is always having. It's world-class content. So how do you create a place where just the most mind-blowing pieces are put together? So that led to the creation of a section called Mind Blown, and finally all the world-class premium content in a section that was behind the paywall called the premium section. So that was really the 3 core pillars, and I'll hand off to Siddhartha to take you through what has been the outcome of that design journey.
Thanks, Saurabh. Hi, everyone. So it has been an exciting, 5 months in between this COVID and everything. So we launched right in the midst of it, just before the lockdown began. And I keep getting asked this question, what was your pre-COVID and post-COVID experience with the product and all? But to be honest, we have launched in between this phase. But what we have seen is, with all the good work that went into all the thought process that went into the design and the product bits of it, we have seen that being validated by the reviews that we saw. So when we launched, we knew that our content is differentiated, our proposition is differentiated. Now we are presenting it in a way, in a user experience which is easy to digest, like Saurabh mentioned. But the other core thing we have realized over the last 5 months is how the design is also very extensible. So when we launched, after that, we have added new categories like investigative discovery, everything, and how the design has expanded to encompass all of them, and how the same ethos could be also transformed into across screens, like larger screens like Fire TV and normal TV. And it all boils down to finally the rating that we have today, which is 4.7 out of 5 stars. This is at a scale also. It's not a smaller few number of reviews. This is at sufficiently large number of reviews. And if you compare to our peer group like Netflix, Hotstar, or Group from the other OTT services which are also competing for the time, we are right there amongst the best, if not the best, in each of the Android and iOS ecosystem. So that's like the journey that has been through the last 5 months. And moving forward, what we have also seen is the reviews, which really, comes from people being touched by the product itself, where they are saying that what we clearly in the discovery linear side also seen that discovery has very strong ethos. There's a learning based expectation that comes with discovery and its brands, and that has played out very well even on the digital side of things. So now we have like people who feel that it's not mindless viewing. It's something that you learn, that makes you interesting, that takes you to the elevates your own, standing in the social circle. Everything. It's not core education, so it won't help you crack probably a entrance exam. But when you speak to your peers, it will give you that extra zing, that extra thing about like knowing more about than your peer group. So all the love that has come, that's like driven by user experience, obviously, and the UI, and the journey that we have has been a really a fulfilling one for the last 5 months. Now looking to the next set of features, how we really continue to build on whatever early love that we have got and taking it to the next level. So that has been the interesting journey for us at Discovery Plus, but we are still getting started. We are the youngest, probably the OTT player today in the market. So exciting, more and more exciting things to come in the coming months for us.
Fantastic. Thanks, Siddharth. And so that's really what we had to share. We wanted to leave some time for Q&A. So if there are questions, we'd love to take them.
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm reading the first question for you. The question is, they say consistency is everything, but also the one who doesn't adapt dies.
Yeah.
How does a brand be consistent while adapting to the real world situations like the ongoing pandemic when it comes to brand innovations?
That's a great question. That's the similar kind of dilemma that we face, when we were starting the journey for crafting the Discovery Plus experience. And that's not just true for Discovery Plus. I think it's one of the things that you will face every time you're trying to create a winning product in the market. How do you balance familiarity with freshness, right? And there are some interfaces that do that very well day in and day out. I remember I was booking a cab the day after India won the silver medal at the Olympics. And as I opened my Uber app, every cab was basically a shuttlecock. And just the right amount, that's a great example of the right amount of freshness you bring to an interface, which connects to what is happening on a day-to-day basis. And it's a very small amount, but it's just right to put a smile on your face to keep you delighted. So it's not just something you just do as part of the initial design process and you forget about it. This balance of freshness and familiarity has to be done on a day-to-day basis, because experience is not something static. It keeps evolving. You have to keep at it. You have to keep ensuring that you are ahead. And so consistency along with adaptation on an ongoing basis, both are important. It's not one or the other. So it's the balance between the two things.
I think what Saurabh said, just building on top of that. So again, like most of the OTTs have always stood for one or the other. Like most of them either focus on long form or the short form. Like you either have 30, 40-minute episodes or you have like a swiping after a couple of minutes. I think the adaptation also comes from how we have married the two in terms of experience. So if you want to have like a quick break snacking of content, you can have it. And if you want to, in the larger scheme of things, when you have more time, you can go back and enjoy the full episode. So I think one of the design innovations that is there on the short form is also this call out for, go to the full episode, which is there in the second screen on this. So where, if you like something, you can quickly navigate to watch the full episode. So basically adapting to the lower probably time that people have. At the same time, people who are curious can go back and watch the full thing.
Yeah. Okay. Second question to you. After creating an innovation in its products, how should the brands tweak their campaigns for product innovation, highlighting the core belief of the brand?
Can you repeat the last bit again? I think we lost you.
After creating an innovation in its products, how should the brands tweak their campaigns for product innovation, highlighting the core belief of the brand?
Siddharth, do you want to take that first?
Yeah. So, like we briefly touched upon, discovery has been seen as something which is a learning thing. That's how we launched as well. But as we have, added more content to our services, particularly say investigation discovery, we have obviously, stood not just for learning anymore. There's a different TG that we are catering to. We have also launched MotoGP. So as the product evolves, obviously the marketing creatives that are used or things that are being communicated also changes, and it also depends on there are certain strongly associated things that you have with the brand, but there will be lesser known things as well. So there are many people who may or may not know that Eurosports is also part of our bouquet of channels. So we have sports content coming from them as well. So I think that's the strength of the brand, that after the launch, if the initial product is strong, if the UI, if the UX is extensible, you can always target new users with the new messaging as you add new features. Like when we launched on Fire TV, we could make a messaging which is around bada like screen, and how to make life bigger or bada around that screen as well. So that's about extending the product and the proposition and constantly innovating.
Yeah, just to add to that, I would say that with the evolution of any product, especially from a user experience standpoint, what tends to happen is over time, every product keeps adding more and more features. And we know that as you add more features, sometimes the experience also gets compromised. It's kind of like you keep adding more and more clothes into a cupboard. After a while, you can't find anything to wear. I think what great digital experiences and companies do is they don't just keep adding stuff. They also think about, if I have to add 5 things, what are the 5 things I should remove? If you look at Apple, if you look at Google, Apple ruthlessly removes things as they add more things. So evolution doesn't just mean adding more and more and more. It also means protecting some things, and it also means destroying something. So create, protect, destroy. I think all those 3 forces have to be in the balance if you have to evolve something properly.
Got it. Thank you. Next question. Kindly share your views on how should an established brand stay true to its core, which comes from historic practices, and innovate using technologies like AI.
So again, AI is so much present in our lives, and it's not always obvious when we are using it as well. And this is for all the digital products today. When you search for things, when you launch the app or any of the experiences, you may not realize it, but there's already something which is happening in the background. And speaking, for Discovery Plus, we choose when you launch the app, during the onboarding process, we ask you which are your favorite categories or passion verticals. And once you are inside the app, the experience is tailored to what you choose. And there are also like people who may not be comfortable choosing for the first time they are launching and they want to quickly go to the videos, but this is the same AI that helps us to keep tailoring them